If you really think you do you is fine, I don't see how you're actually vegan. Are vegan, the vegan Reddit, which apparently is in the top 1% of Reddit communities in terms of size. That's pretty amazing. Over the last few years or so, I've received comments from you guys, mostly complaining about our vegan for basically being, I think, too extreme. And I have seen a few things, anti-vegetarian things that have made me like, and I think I've even said that before in comments on the channel, but that might be unfair. I really am not very familiar with this subreddit at all. So I thought I would check it out, give it a chance. 1.2 million vegans can't be wrong, just like 70,000 teeth can't be wrong. Okay, the first thing here, we have how many birds are killed to decorate one big bird puppet. Are birds really killed? Is it made of real feathers, covered in real turkey and ostrich feathers? And now I'm realizing, like, is this going to be all sad? Maybe I should just stick to memes. According to an interview with the owner of American Plume and Fancy Feather, Sesame's feather supplier, Sesame Street rejects 9 out of 10 feathers, replaced every 2 weeks or after the Muppet has been to an event. Wow. That's a great way to start this video. Honestly, I had no idea the feathers were real. Childhood ruined. I didn't know they were real either. I don't know how much I watched Sesame Street. I don't think I really watched it a lot. I don't watch it a lot with the kids. They never really got into it. We watched Elmo's World a little bit. I just feel like there are so many better shows, better kids shows. I know Sesame Street's been around for a long time and nobody really thought about using feathers, and maybe a lot of people still don't. I'm sure they don't, but really? You can't switch to faux feathers? Is it a quality issue? You really think the costume's gonna suffer that much? Well, guess what? It's for kids, so who gives a shit? You think any child is gonna complain about the way Big Bird looks with faux feathers? Maybe ask kids. Ask them if they're cool with how many birds are killed to make a Big Bird puppet. Think they'll be okay with faux feathers. As partner pointed out to me, this actually isn't surprising at all. There is just no incentive, right? Because this is just a byproduct of the animal agriculture industry of factory farming feathers. They are dirt cheap. Obviously, purchasing them, which this company is doing, the company that is selling these feathers to Sesame Street, and thereby Sesame Street, right? They are subsidizing factory farming to some degree by purchasing these feathers. Make the same argument for something like gelatin, which is a byproduct. A lot of pet food as well, still subsidizing the industry to some degree. So yeah, not surprising they would use real feathers, but again, I would love to see like kids' reaction, like PETA or someone do a video with kids where they talk about Big Bird and what he's made of. And this is where I get really bummed about animal welfare. I mean, how can we expect people to stop eating animals when we can't even stop doing this? Like, no one bats an eye at this, something so superfluous. Yeah, depressing. Going omni after a breakup. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. So this guy is breaking up with his girlfriend. His friends think that he's not going to be vegan anymore because he originally went vegan for her, quote unquote. She convinced him. But yeah, they think it was just for her, so they expect him to start eating animal products again. My friends thought that I will stop being vegan again because why be vegan if you don't get anything out of it? Maybe get new friends. I feel like I should explain that a little bit. I just find that really disrespectful. They believe he's vegan just to appease a girl or just to have a relationship with a girl. I don't know. I would find that really disrespectful if I were him. I can't imagine being friends with people like that who think so little of me that I would lie to someone just to get pussy. I don't what? How to make a fictional character unpopular. To make a character unpopular with the general public, you can do 2 things. 1, the person mistreats animals. 2, the person is vegan. I went on a date with a meat eater. Terrible, I know, but he ordered a vegan option out of respect for me. Aww. I've never had anyone do this for me before. On my birthday one year, my ex took me to a steakhouse because he wanted steak. The bar is literally on the floor, so I was impressed. My husband did the same thing. Never ate meat in front of me the entire time we were dating. Was plant-based at home from the day we moved in together. He promised to go vegetarian in our wedding vows. Aww. And a few months later, he watched Dominion and went vegan on his own accord. Are you looking for a sister wife? The rosé is vegan friendly. Mini haul from my work. Hey, very good steak. They have this at Grocery Outlet, apparently. I'm on their little mailing list, right? And I get the weekly flyer and it was on there. Hopefully they'll have this because I really want to try this brand. I think they have the steak and some kind of barbecue ribs. I'm so glad I don't have headphones on and the sound's off. That would have ruined me. Be vegan. Oh, little baby pig. Earthling Ed changed my view on good and bad people, and it's bothering me. Oh, interesting. The little I know of Earthling Ed, I think it's moving away from black and white sort of thinking, maybe? He says people are on a spectrum of good and bad. No one is solely good and no one is solely bad. Simply, no one is perfect, and people's bad choices are often influenced by things out of their control. For me, it leads to this mentality of no one is a bad person, they are merely the product of their environment, which really irks me. I literally can't be mad at carnists. I can't point my finger to anyone and blame them for the animal holocaust. Well, that's nice. That's the opposite of what I was talking about at the beginning of this video with this sort of black and white thinking. This is the thing I've heard most in terms of people complaining about this subreddit, is that there's a lot of that. And again, like anti-vegetarians, you're either vegan or you're shit. But of course, 1.2 million people, you're going to have people with different beliefs, vegan or not. Right? People absolutely are the products of their environment, so some people will be more open to change and some will be much less. I will say it's not just environment. A lot of this is genetics, your genetic capacity for empathy. It's a spectrum, right? But there are some people with basically no empathy whatsoever, and it's not their fault. Some people with no empathy and low impulse control. That's where you get into a lot of trouble. There's a great book about free will, and basically the whole book is like, there's really no such thing as free will. And then the book ends with, but we have to pretend it exists, otherwise society cannot function, which is essentially my viewpoint. In order to protect people and keep things going, we have to act as though people have free will. We have to have punishments to some extent. But I think in our everyday lives, it is good to view things as gray, right? And I think it is good to be sympathetic towards even the worst people in the world. Yes, it is easier to think in black and white, but that is based on illusion. It makes it so much easier to categorize people that way. That's why I tend to do it, but it's just a fallacy, as no one is perfect. And at the end of the day, who does it help being angry at people? And I'm not saying I don't get angry sometimes. I absolutely do, particularly shit like this. You know, it just, how do you not? But I don't think it really helps people. Some people it does. Some people slapping them in the face helps them wake up, I guess, and that's what they respond to. But most people do not. And possibly even more importantly, it's not good for most of us either, right? It's not good to feel angry all the time. But yeah, really nice post, really nice comments. A friend told me he had trouble with the scenes of animal abuse in, was that Game of Thrones? Told me he had trouble with the scenes of animal abuse while he was eating chicken wings. I just can't with some people. Is this like virtue signaling? Is that what this is? Like, it's very clear why someone would feel that way, why most people would, right? We're conditioned to eat chicken, and that chickens are dumb and meant to be food, and we need meat to survive. And likely this person felt the same way like a year ago, maybe even like a month ago. I just find it really annoying when I hear shit like this. Can you believe Americans care about dogs and cats, but they don't care about pigs and chickens? Can you believe it? Yes. What? Luckily, the comments are all much nicer than me. Please use that as an opportunity to open up a conversation. Oh, it's not Game of Thrones. It's Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. It moved me toward vegetarianism personally. I know that doesn't fly as an okay lifestyle with most of this sub, but just saying it does move the needle for some people. Aw, what is it about? 2.5. There's a spider. Why? No, I'm vegan and I'm on camera. I'm gonna leave it. No, I don't smash spiders. I call partner to retrieve it. Oh my god, my 4-year-old is so hardcore. Literally caught a spider themselves, trying to get it in their hand, wouldn't work, so they went and got a cup, got the little thing in a cup, put it outside. Never, ever, ever, ever in my life would I ever attempt that. Point is, 2.5 hours. How do you even sit in a theater? This is a cute little meme. You trusted me and I failed you when one of my veggies goes bad in the fridge. Yeah, I just had to throw away a bunch of green beans. Actually, I didn't. I left them in there because I didn't want to deal with them and waited for partner to notice, and then he threw them away. So they were bad in the fridge for like a few days. Ooh, vegan ranch recipe with veggies. Ooh, sounds good. Oh, underwhelmed by these 2 new Hershey's plant-based chocolate products. Okay, so the cups I have not had. I don't know where you can find those. I guess I need to try and find them. Man, I thought those were good. Do they even still sell these? I've never seen them in store. I had to order them from Target like over a year ago. I've never seen them. But man, I thought they were both of the varieties were really good. Oh, I see on the sidebar here, the special disconnect in the horse industry. That reminds me. So I get the daily email from the New York Times, and just a few days ago, like the main headline was about the, what's it called? Kentucky Derby. And not in like a, can you believe this shit still exists? But like a, hey, the Kentucky Derby's happening. Here are the horses. Again, it's silly to go, how do people think horse racing is fine now? Like, clearly a lot of people do, but it is not super popular anymore. A lot of people think that that is not okay. A lot of people know about what happens to these horses, and the New York Times is a fairly progressive publication. Why? And this is even worse. This is the announcement of the winner. Again, New York Times. You scroll down, they interview the writers. Feel good story. Yeah, feel good story that was so desperately needed. Why? Because 7 horses died just in the days leading up to the Kentucky Derby. It's a very difficult subject, especially in the climate of 2023. We are very sensitive to these unfortunate instances. All I can say is we do our best to take care of our horses. We treat them better than we treat our children. The deaths brought attention to the sport's troubles during one of the few weekends of the year when sports fans are focused on horse racing. And that's basically all we hear about, maybe the sport is bad actually. Sorry to harp on this, but like, again, it's not just a mainstream CNN or MSNBC or Fox News or anything like that. It's the New York Times. Why are you reporting on horse racing? Who reading the New York Times even cares about the Kentucky Derby? Have been vegan for 6 solid years now, but don't like having pets. Even before becoming a vegan, I always refused the idea of owning another living being. I love animals, but personally believe that they are better off without me and don't want to domesticate one. I respect those who have pets and am not judgmental at all, but how can I be an animal lover and vegan and yet not liking the idea of having pets? It baffles me. For him, it sounds more of a principle thing, not that he just doesn't like pets. I am at a point in my life where I don't really like animals. I can see photos and like, oh, they're cute. And my mother-in-law's cat, they live with us, and he's the sweetest cat I've ever met. And I've met so many cats. I was a pet sitter for years. I've known a lot of cats, and he is the sweetest cat I have ever met. He is wonderful. Even still, I don't interact with him a whole lot. I just have no desire to be around animals. I think it started really years ago when my mom got her dog, Rupert, who is like a cat in a dog's body, just a diva of a dog. And I didn't really like her. She was a cute little puppy, but I didn't have that desire to like pet her and hold her and everything that I used to, right? Growing up, I loved cats and dogs. I loved animals so much, especially cats. And then when my Sniffy boy died, not that long after, I kind of realized it's nice to not have to clean a litter box. Like it's nice not have to deal with disgusting cat food. And then having kids, I don't have the energy, I don't have the time, and I just don't have the desire to take care of a pet. And I've seen other moms say the same thing once they had kids. It's just kind of like, why would I want a pet? My house is gross enough as it is. But partner, he has been vegan even longer than I have. And I don't think he's ever really liked pets. He doesn't dislike them, but he doesn't want to be around them. Even with Sniff, we were together before Sniff died. I don't remember him ever just like going out of his way to like pet him or anything. Like he really did not interact with him at all. So it could also be him rubbing off on me to some degree. And also I should say with Gizmo, as sweet as he is also the nastiest cat I have ever met in my life. He has, poor thing, he has respiratory issues and he sneezes, and it's not just sneezing, like snot goes everywhere. It is disgusting. He's the grossest, not just cat, he's the grossest animal I've ever met. So that definitely doesn't help. But point is, this has nothing to do with veganism, right? It's just personal preference. And also, especially with cats, it's really hard to feed cats vegan. If you get a cat, very likely you're going to have to feed them some amount of meat, some amount of animal products. And I don't want to do that. I don't want that in my house. And I also don't want to contribute to that just so we can have a cat. And my kids really have no interest in having pets, which is interesting. They are both, my older two, my 6 and my 4-year-old, they're both, especially my 6-year-old, is very clean for a 6-year-old. So they are not keen on the sneezing. They're sweet with Gizmo, and sometimes they'll even go up and pet him, but for the most part, they ignore him. And if they see him start sneezing, they bolt. But again, it's nothing to do with veganism. You do not have to love pets to be vegan. I mean, we don't eat pets anyway, so it's even more removed, I think, from veganism specifically. But also, Peter Singer has talked about this. He did years ago. I don't know when he wrote this, but he wrote it as a foreword, I think, to animal liberation. Oh, new version is coming out very soon, by the way. But yeah, it basically is about that. You don't have to be an animal lover, quote unquote, to be vegan, right? To not hurt animals. I'm not a human lover. I don't love every human, but I want people to not suffer, right? I don't love every animal, but I don't want them to suffer. That said, I do think my love of animals contributed somewhat to me being vegan, at least originally. And I think for most people, that's the case, which is unfortunate, but that's the way it is, right? It's why even in vegan advocacy, even though we know it's dumb, many of us point out how smart pigs are, right? And like, look how cute animals are, even though it does not matter. It should not matter. It does to people. The more we can make them seem like the animals we already like, or even somewhat like people, the more likely they are to see their sentience and see their worth. What do you eat at a Mexican restaurant? Yes. This is so aggravating. Not for me now, because I just make Mexican style food at home. But when I was first going vegan, that was something I thought, oh my God, it's going to be so easy to eat here. But no, cheese is everywhere. The refried beans have animal fat or butter. Oh, veganize my childhood food. Pierogi Reski made from scratch based on Bob's, yep, that word, recipe. This thread made me happy. Almost everyone is defending the sister who had a vegan wedding. Am I the asshole for telling my sister and her new husband that they're inconsiderate for only providing vegan options for the wedding and getting kicked out for it? You can't avoid meat for one day? Good for them for kicking you out. You dick. Vegans can't eat meat, but people who eat meat can still eat vegan food without compromise. But that's the problem. People treat it as just a dietary choice. Well, it's just a choice. So why don't you provide me what I would like? That's why I get frustrated when I see vegans, or I guess more plant-based eaters. I don't like that distinction, but sometimes it does make sense, right? When I see vegans saying stuff like that, are you really vegan? I think you just don't eat animal products. If you really think you do you is fine, I don't see how you're actually vegan. Okay, I gotta stop. Baby needs to go down for a nap. But yeah, overall, I think the subreddit is fine. Obviously, I only saw a tiny fraction of the posts on this. It's been around since, I think I saw 2008, which really isn't surprising, right? Any sort of public thing like this, you are going to have people who are more extreme and some people less so. And it seems like the majority are just kind of normal. So yeah, that turned out to be a nice video, I think. So that makes me pretty happy. And if you guys know of any other vegan communities that you really recommend, they can be more specific things, like specific to, vegan protein recipes or something. I don't know. Yeah, leave it down below. That would be nice, I think, for people who are looking for that sort of thing. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like the video if you did. Please subscribe if you want to see more stuff from me. Thank you so much, of course, to my patrons at patreon.com/unnaturalvegan. I do post 2 exclusive videos there a month for $5 plus patrons. I just posted the controversial video for this month for May. And I hear baby crying. So yeah, I gotta go. Thank you so much again, guys. New video soon.